Welcome to Fast Physio Facts with me, Mick Hughes, episode number 3. And this one's on lateral ankle sprains. This one's a beauty. This one compared a traditional land-based physiotherapy for a grade 3 ankle sprain compared to a water-based or aqua-based hydrotherapy program for lateral ankle sprains. So it was a 2024 randomized control trial by Sadek and colleagues, and it's a really, really good one. So grade 3 lateral ankle sprains were diagnosed via MRI and confirmed with MRI. And this was on a group of elite athletes, mostly basketball players and volleyball players. So they did recruit 30 elite professional athletes aged between 18 and 30, and the injury had to be within 1 to 7 days of their injury, so fairly fresh. As mentioned, basketball and volleyball players were the main included athletes, but there were some sports like rugby that were involved in this trial as well. The groups were very similar. So we had average age of about 24 and body mass index of about 22, 23, and a fairly even split between males and females. Really important note here that to be included in the trial, they had to have confirmed lateral ankle sprain injury. So to the the CFL was confirmed on MRI and had to be injured within 7 days, as I mentioned. They did exclude fractures and high ankle sprains and people that needed surgery or injuries that did include or that were older than 7 days old. Now, the program was pretty interesting between the two groups. So they had a 4-week program where they took baseline measures within the first 7 days of injury. They then reassessed them at 4 weeks and 6 weeks. And they had the two intervention groups. So we had the land-based program and the water-based program. So the land-based program was fairly passive in that first week to let the injury settle. So they did bracing and early pain management strategies with range of movement and basic exercises. Week 2, they moved into resisted ankle range of movement work and some balance drills and step-ups and lunges and some manual therapy as indicated. Week 3, they moved on to more advanced balance work and some single leg work and more hands-on treatment. So pretty, I guess, classic physiotherapy management in the first month post-injury. The aqua group or the aquatic group actually started rehab much early and got some early loading in the pool starting from week 1, where they did some walking drills in varying degrees of depth and some ankle range of movement and some stretching. Weeks 2 and 3 progressed to some resisted fin work. So not your classic ankle rehab that we'd see in the clinic, but definitely in the pool. They had ankle fins. They did squats, single leg squats, lunges, some hip work, step ups, or using underwater weights and resistance bands in the pool. Week 4, they actually started to introduce some impact work and did some vertical jumping and resisted running and advanced proprioception work in the pool. So really, I guess, contrasting methods to manage ankle sprains early, but one that showed really big differences between the groups. So importantly, pain was really high in both of these groups. So our baseline, both groups had 9 out of 10 pain, roughly 9 out of 10 pain in the landing group, on the land group and traditional physio group, and then the 8.5 out of 10 pain was the aquatic group. So importantly, over the course of the 4-week intervention, pain reduced significantly, as you would expect with a bit of natural history, to the point where both groups did significantly reduce their pain. But the pain was far more better in the aquatic group than the land group. So the aquatic group got their pain down to less than 1 out of 10, about 0.75. The land-based group at 4 weeks still had a 2 out of 10 pain during activities. Probably the big headlines, though, was the vast differences in change of function and return to sport. So if we just look at function for a moment here, at week 4, the aquatic-based group, their hop distances were significantly better, which is one of the key outcome measures they looked at. So single leg hop in the aquatic group when they tested them on land was 1.66 meters, whereas the land-based group at week 4, they were only hopping 45 centimeters. Triple hop was 3 meters and 43 centimeters in the aqua group versus 67 in the land-based group, and the crossover hop was once again over 3 meters versus 65 centimeters in the land-based group. So really significant differences in their functional performance, and the ability to hop and land are really key for volleyballers and basketballers. So that was a really big standout for me. But like always, you've got professional athletes that are keen to get back to sport. What was really clear here was that the aqua group returned back to sport faster after a grade 3 ankle sprain, much faster. In fact, it was 3 weeks faster, so 21 days faster. So on average, return to sport timeframes in the aqua group were 4.5 weeks versus 7.5 weeks in the land-based group. So even though this was a small trial in elite athletes only with short follow-up times, it's kind of like a real-world example, though, of what we should be kind of thinking about, how we can manage load and exercise early in our general population group. So there's a lot to unpack here in the full text paper, and feel free to dive deeply into it. It's an open access paper. It's at the link below this video. But I think the big takeaways from me are that early physiotherapy and early rehab in load, I guess, accepted environments, and the water is a beautiful one for this, particularly with an ankle sprain where we don't have to worry about infection risk. Post-surgical, it's a bit tricky because you need to worry about wounds and whatnot. But after an ankle sprain, if you've got access to a pool, it's a wonderful environment to start that early intervention. The same could be said for any kind of lower limb injury, to be honest, or even upper limb injury to a certain extent. But certainly acute knee sprains, ankle sprains, any kind of hip, low back kind of intervention that you want to start early. The pool is a wonderful environment. I remember being taught once many, many years ago that, and I think this still stands true, that when you're in waist deep water, you've only got 50% of your body weight acting through your lower limbs. When you're in chest deep water, you've got only 25% of your body weight acting through your lower limbs. So it's a really good way to safely and sensibly load up. And we know load is quite important for these ones. So that's it. Really great paper, really nice randomized control trial. It didn't have a true control group in they did nothing for 4 weeks to see what would happen, but it was clear here that the Aqua group was doing really well at 4 weeks and 6 weeks post injury and early return to sport. So there's Mick's Fast Facts, or Fast Facts Physio, episode 3 in the books. Love your feedback. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Is this too quick, too slow? Leave comments for me in the sections below. Send me an email at info@Learn.Physio. Love to hear your feedback and your thoughts on this one. All right, until the next episode, see you then.